Welcome to the Heritage Christian Online School webcast with your host, Allana Lemke. Hey, I have a question. Teachers that are teachers, that have studied to be teachers in the public school system, what's the deal with them? Are they threatened by homeschool people or what? Like, what's going on? I mean, seriously. I mean, if I had a child and I had the choice, okay, as a Christian, yes, I definitely want my kid to get the education that they want. What about somebody that is kind of on the fence? What is the deal between public schools and home schools? And why are the teachers usually butt heads on homeschooling, don't they?
I think they look down upon it because they feel that parents are not educated. They're not educated themselves to be able to know the best way to instruct a class of students.
Okay, walk me through this process. What happens if I was a teacher in a public school and I was looking at the system? What would I see? What would make me change my mind and say, oh, okay, I didn't know that about homeschooling and how they did things? Because they have to meet the same kind of education.
Oh, for sure. Yes. There are two ways you can homeschool. One is to be registered. So you just report into, the beginning of the year, report into a public school and say that I'm going to educate my child at home. We're going to just register, and that's it. And you go about your merry way. You homeschool your own child, and you've been accounted for to the government. There is no accountability in that. The second way is to be enrolled with a distributed learning school or a DL school. That's what HCOS is, Heritage Christian Online School. And in that, there is the accountability measure, whereas a family would partner with the school, and they would they would sit down with their support teacher and they would work out a whole education plan. So the support teacher comes and works with the family, setting up a learning plan. So they are figuring out this is what needs to be accomplished in grade 3. These are the learning outcomes that need to be accomplished for science and language arts and math and social studies and fine arts. How are we going to do that? Well, what's the best way? We get to then tailor the education to what will meet that student's particular learning style. Right. And so we have to then choose curriculum. What's going to work best for the student? How are we going to evaluate their learning? How are we going to, assess it? And what strategies are going to be used.
There's much more accountability on the
For
deal.
sure. Oh, for sure. There is. In return, the parent does have access to funds to be able to use. The teacher then purchases the curriculum for that student on the parent's behalf, and they're able to there is funding for that to a certain amount, and it also helping to pay for some extracurricular activities.
So
as well.
Who's funding that?
The Ministry of Education is funding it. Yeah, our independent schools receive a portion of funds per student and full-time equivalent student enrolled with that school.
You're kidding me. I did not know this.
Yeah.
Do teachers know this?
I believe they do. We receive about less than half of what the public school receives per student. And so we do a whole lot more with a whole lot less as we homeschool and as children are enrolled with various independent schools. So,
obviously this conversation is opinion based, right? The level of education that's coming out of homeschools, I would think would have a higher standard, correct, than a public school?
I believe so, because I think the education is actually really well-rounded. There are very few holes, I believe, in home learning.
You can't escape from mom and dad when you're home.
You can't. You so can't. I know. And it's also, it's working on their character along with all of the academics. It's multifaceted. It's not just one-dimensional. Right.
The head on the handle? Did I say that right? You're working on their character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you're doing all of this as well. Yeah. And presenting, curriculum you choose, you want it to be a biblical worldview and all that they do. So they hear God's design for things, and God's design for science.
Yeah.